I'm Commissioner Beth Melton here in Routt County, and just give an update today about where we are at as a community with COVID and with disease prevalence and where we're headed. So we are currently looking at, we've had a couple of weeks of slowly increasing virus count. Prior to that, we had a very low virus prevalence, and we've seen an uptick as many places across the state and the country have seen. And we are not panicking by any means. We certainly feel like we have to keep an eye on it. We need everyone to stay vigilant, to continue working, to do all the important things we have to do to keep the virus contained. And on the county side, that means continuing to really work hard to increase our capacity for testing, for contact tracing, and for monitoring and education on compliance with those public health rules. What we've seen over the past couple of weeks is that our cases are coming from a few different places. We've seen that there seems to be a lot of people who, when they leave and come back to Routt County, they maybe leave on vacation or whatever else, that they come back. So these are our residents and have brought a new case of the virus back with them. And so we're really emphasizing to folks to avoid hotspots if possible when they're traveling, and to really exercise the same amount of caution that they have when they're in our community, which is wearing masks, washing hands, maintaining distance. Even if those places don't have some of the same rules and protocols that we have, that's a really important way to help protect our community and avoid reintroducing new cases to our community. The other thing that we really have seen is that people are having informal gatherings with friends and family. And of course, all of us are feeling cooped up and are feeling like we want to get out there and see people. We really have to continue our effort to limit social interactions to the extent possible. It doesn't mean you never see anybody, but it means really making a significant reduction in the number of people you might see over the course of a week or 2 weeks, compared to maybe what you were doing pre-pandemic. Those two actions are really critical to us continuing to be able to maintain control on this virus. And as we see increasing case counts, we're not necessarily as worried about those as we were in March, now that we have the appropriate infrastructure for testing and contact tracing. But in order to continue to be able to isolate and control outbreaks without having to resort to very strong measures like closing businesses, we do have to make sure that we keep up that vigilance in our community to keep those case counts low. Our goal is really to avoid having to use the closure of businesses as a strategy to control the virus. And back in March and in April, that really was the only tool we had to get control of these rapidly escalating case counts. And now we have a lot more tools in our toolbox. We've ramped up contact tracing, we've ramped up testing. People are in businesses practicing much safer measures than they would have been previously. So the kind of spacing and wearing masks and the extra cleaning are not things that were regular practices. And so our hope is that through all of those measures, we really can avoid the extreme measure of having to shut things down. That really is a last resort strategy that we hope to avoid by continuing to build this capacity that we have for virus suppression and for isolating these outbreaks so that they don't spread out into the community. Of course, it's always possible that we would have to go that direction if things got out of control, which is why we need everybody to really make the commitment to doing what they can individually, which includes keeping those gatherings small and minimal, wearing a mask, as is required in Routt County, um, washing hands frequently, not going out if you're sick, committing to getting tested if you do start to experience symptoms. All of those things are so critical to us keeping this under control. And we're very hopeful that if everyone can take part in those measures, that we will not have to resort to closures in order to control the virus. But I think the critical pieces are that you are maintaining distance from people who are outside of your party and outside of your household, at least 6 feet wherever you can. That you are washing your hands frequently, and that you're wearing a mask. And some communities require a mask. Here in Routt County, we do. So we want to make sure everyone has one with them when they're out in public so that they can wear it. And some communities are not requiring them, but it is still a critical component of containing the virus, as we've learned over the last few weeks and months. The other, I think, key component is really just making sure that if you are sick, if you experience any symptoms, either before you're here, while you're here, or after you go home, that you seek testing immediately so that anyone who you may have been in contact with can be notified and tested as well. And that's how we really contain the spread. And I know it might be challenging to think you may miss a portion of your vacation because you're sick, but those are just these are unusual times, and those are the commitments that we really all have to make to one another, to keep our economy going and to keep each other healthy and safe. Anyone who is interested in being tested can be tested at UC Health or at the county, whether they are symptomatic or asymptomatic. And we're also putting a lot of focus on doing surveillance testing with in partnership with businesses where they have a lot of interaction with the public. So we're partnering with the ski area, with restaurants, with childcare, lots of folks to try to just really make sure that we have a good handle on the disease prevalence in town. But if someone is sick, their first call should absolutely be to their doctor. I think the good news is that there's no question that this community has come together to really fight this challenge, to rise to the challenge, and to work together to do what's needed. I was so inspired that Yampa Valley Bank and the Chamber pulled together a really innovative way to do our parade that I think brought a lot of joy in a time where things have been so challenging. And it was really, I was in the parade, and it was really touching for me to go past Casey's Pond. And all the residents were outside with their masks on and distant from other folks. And it just was such a great reminder of what a resilient and strong community we have, and how we are all really coming together to rise to this challenge. And I just am so proud of the work we're doing to support and protect one another. And I think we're all looking forward to the day when this is over, and it will be over. And until then, I feel so privileged to live in such an amazing place where people are so committed to taking care of one another.